Alright, so now you're a master of throwing it one up in the air at a time from our video on what to do, step 1 of learning how to juggle, tossing that one ball up in the air. Now we're going to work with 2. With 2, I typically tell people to get comfortable with them by tossing one and then the next up in the air. You're keeping your elbows in just like in the first video. Keep your elbows in, tossing them up. Try and keep it a nice consistent height. If you can, you want to maybe try going a little higher, a little bit lower. Alright, see what you can do. Get comfortable with tossing those up. You can even try tossing them both at the same time. Try and keep your eyes on 2 things at once. That's going to be helpful later on. So you want to get comfortable with 2. Then we're going to basically move into actually your standard juggle, and that's tossing from one hand, and right before it hits this hand, you're going to throw this one underneath. So it'll look kind of like that. Alright, so you toss. You can pick whichever hand you want. You're eventually going to want to do it with both, but toss, maybe for me, I'll start with my right hand. Toss the right hand up and then left hand up. Again, you're looking for a couple of things. You're going to keep your elbows in, keep your upper body kind of a little bit tight, and you're going to toss this one up. And your tosses, you want to be pretty consistent. You don't want to be doing that, and you don't want to be throwing that one way up high, because then it tends to go forward and you get into what was I calling joggling, where you're running forward. Try and keep them at about a consistent height. Try different heights, one up and up, down and down. Try and keep them about consistent. And then when you feel comfortable tossing with your right, try starting with your left. So now we're doing it from my left hand first and then my right. Again, you want to keep the tosses pretty consistent. And when you're comfortable with that, throwing from one hand to the other, tossing like that, then you try and be a little bit more consistent. So instead of catching both of them, I'm going to throw that one. Always want to go under like that. But you can start by doing that, and it's a big step. If you get to this point, essentially you're juggling. You're just juggling with the third ball not being there. Alright? And all you're doing is toss and toss. Toss and toss. Right hand, left hand. And then you're ready to move on to step number 3, which is when you're adding in that third ball.